Jake, welcome back to another edition of 1911 Syndicate. How are you?
Look, let's cut.
Take two. Jake, welcome back.
Howdy, nice to be here.
How you doing?
Ah, splendid.
How you feeling?
Yeah, 50-50.
50-50?
Yeah.
Still a little under the weather?
Yeah, so if you hear a cough, just deal with it.
Yep. What are we talking about today, Jake?
Talking about scopes and things.
Scopes and things. Before we jump into that, tell the people what they need to know. Who sponsored us on this video?
Shooting Surplus. Thank the Shooting Surplus dudes for the support, and we think you should support them. I don't know what that was.
You're good, just keep talking, boy.
They carry a lot of great gear. I did not check right now to see if they have the Kahles on the site there, but tons of great stuff that they cover. 1911, just the number 1911. Get you 5% off on their site, which I would recommend you take advantage of because that can get pretty juicy pretty quick. We're shooting 5.56 on this.
Yeah, from our boys at US Brass House. US Brass House is our ammo sponsor, ammo affiliate, whatever you want to call it. Go ahead and jump on their website, 1911, and another code Syndicate, that's 2, enter them each individually, will save you 40 bucks on a case of ammo, which covers shipping and all that other good stuff.
Covers a meal at Red Lobster is what that covers.
How would you know that?
I know.
You eat there a lot?
I know. Shrimp Fest, Lobster Fest.
Nice. And I guess, you know, our own shameless plug, we are a real estate company. If you need help with real estate, he's in Utah, I'm in Arizona. We got affiliates all over the country. We'd love to help you with your real estate needs.
We got clients right now in, man, a bunch of different states. South Dakota, Alaska, fucking Texas, and Florida, and Utah, and Vegas, and all over the place. Thanks for those of you guys that actually hear this message and reach out, because it matters.
It's how we do all this, right? So let's jump into it, Jake. Today we're talking about a Kahles K18i. So this has made a couple appearances on, let's see here. Actually, a lot of content. We just haven't really acknowledged it. We've just been shooting the piss out of it. On the Scar 17 video wait, was that this winter?
Yeah.
Technically this winter.
Yeah, it was like December.
Yeah, last year, but this winter. It has been on a PWS, your rifle. And then for the last month and change-ish, I've had it on my Militia Works 16-inch rifle. So, relationship with Kahles. Do you want to jump into that?
Yeah, we got in touch just through a mutual friend, actually. And, you know, it's just one of those things. We're like, hey, we, you know, love to test out some gear, and they're willing to let us test out some gear. So that thing's here on T&E, testing and evaluation, industry term that you guys may hear if you watch enough gun stuff. So yeah, optic's not ours. It's, you know, it's belongs to Kahles. It just happens to be with us right now. And
it's getting T&E'd, man.
Yeah, I mean, we've
take some bumps and bruises.
Frankly, this review's long overdue because, I mean, we really have a lot of rounds on that optic.
Yeah, in 308 and 5.56.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, which is kind of cool. They did tell us, just real quick, we're not talking about a 308 or SCAR, but they did tell us this was SCAR rated, good to go. So if anyone has any questions right out the gate about that, well, is it okay on a SCAR? Yes, we ran it all winter on a SCAR, no issues.
Yeah,
so.
yep.
You want to hold that for me?
Sure.
Take a look at it.
Yep.
Feel the doilies.
Yep.
So Kahles has been around since 1898. So a hot minute. They've been around for a while. One of the first companies actually to make magnified variable optics, which is kind of cool. Not the first people, one of the first. I know some people get a little hung up on the semantics of that. They were also one of the first manufacturers. Oh, your dog scared the hell out of me. I thought it was another animal. We got Finn running around. They're also one of the first companies to implement glass coatings to mitigate, you know, glare, to mitigate fog, things of that sort. They also were one of the first companies to, inject nitrogen into the tube to help everything settle in there and then seal it all up. And they actually, from their website I got this, and the individual I spoke with, that they were one of the first companies, and actually, if not the first, because they have a patent on it, on using O-rings to seal up the scope to prevent moisture.
Cool.
So that's kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
If someone wants to argue with me, please don't. This is, again, just the research that I did from their website and all that good stuff. So this is a 1:8 optic, hence the 18. Okay, so we got true 1 power. And
yeah, that's what I was just looking at.
Yep, it is a true 1 power optic. Now, some people that get real nerdy and engineering and sciencey will say there is no such thing with a variable optic as a true 1 power.
Man, it's certainly close.
1.00001. Can we just call it that?
Yeah, it's really good.
Damn near exactly 1, right? One thing I wanted to mention too, because I've heard this talked about on a couple of guys on reviews, LPVO, low power variable optic, is a newer term, kind of a hot button word that people use for magnified optics. It's just a magnified optic, everybody. We don't need to do LPVO. So I may say that.
Yeah, the L just probably indicates that it starts at 1.
Correct, but even then, like, we've had a long time of just 1 to X optics and never call them that. LPVO is literally like a newer term within the last 5-10 years at the most.
Well, I'm trendy, so I'm going to use it.
Okay, yeah, you use it. It's probably easier for you to remember, right?
True.
So this scope comes with 2 reticle options, reticle options. We have the 3GR, which was designed for 3-gun competition, hence the 3GR, right? It has inside, and we're gonna probably superimpose a breakdown of the reticle on the screen. It has, well, first off, you zero these optics at 100 meters, okay? Everything is gonna be in meters because they are a European company. And our contact over there said that. He's like, hey, just so you know, everything's gonna be in meters because they are
Says right
European.
there, made in Austria.
Yep. So this scope is specifically made for 2 projectiles, 5.56 stuff and 308. And like I said, mostly for 3-gun competition stuff. So they built the reticle in there for, it really shines with your heavier grain stuff, your 70 to 77 grain projectiles, because those don't get affected by wind as much. When we're out here training, most people training, they're all running 55 grain stuff. So just keep that in mind. If you're, you know, shopping around for an ideal 3-gun optic, you're probably shooting 70 to 77 grain stuff. This would be your setup.
Okay.
This optic comes right at, and I did searches last night on price on a bunch of different websites. You're looking at $2,500 to $2,600. Okay. So maybe on the steeper end for some people, maybe just about right for people, maybe obnoxiously expensive for some people. Pick your own adventure, guys. I think that's a very reasonable price for that optic.
It all depends on your version of what's
reasonable.
expensive
Yeah.
and how much nice shit do you like. It just depends.
And this is a second focal plane reticle. Can you tell me what that is?
Yeah, the nothing changes as you zoom in.
Yep.
The reticle is the reticle.
Yeah. And I asked our guy over there at Kahles, we do like to call the manufacturers as a point of contact when we can. Guy over there, it was awesome. You've had a couple conversations with him. We spent, I don't know, probably an hour on the phone. I feel like I've known that guy my whole life. He was super nice, was like answered all the questions, gave some good tidbits, was more than happy to help, which we like from manufacturers. So thank you. Reason why I brought that up is second focal plane, what he was telling me, and he's done a lot of competition shooting, 3-gun stuff, is it's just easier for that type of shooting. Instead of having first focal, which is where typically it looks just like a dot, once you zoom in, you then get your data tree, right? I don't know if it's called the data tree, but that's what I'm calling it because that's what it looks like.
It sounds cool.
It sounds great.
If it's incorrect, it sounds great.
I'm gonna patent that term. So as you zoom in on first focal, you get all your data. This is the same. So whether you're on 1X or 8X, the same data as far as your scope is the same,
Yeah.
right? We have 2 red dots on this.
Yes.
So we zero at 100 meters. That's your point of aim, point of impact, right? That dot is for just your normal shots, right? Anywhere from 100 and in.
Yep.
If you see there's a hash mark and then a second dot,
Yep.
that is for your holds close in.
Okay.
So if we're at, you know, mechanical offset, when you're close in, you use that second dot to land low percentage shots.
Cool.
Which is pretty cool that it's built into the scope like
Yes.
that.
Yes.
Now, looking through the scope, you're gonna have your standard dot where the crosshairs meet, and then you're gonna have all the way down 7 more options.
Yep.
And that is for 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700 to 800 meters. Okay? Now, to the left and right of those are windage holds for 5 to 10 mile per hour winds.
Okay.
So that's it. Think of how simple that is. If someone's, or a target, you have to lead a target. If there's some winds, you just, you know, hopefully they're between 5 and 10 miles an hour. You hold accordingly and send the round.
Yep.
So it's very simple to use.
Yep.
Are you tracking? You understand it?
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Cool. This, as far as measurements, is MRAD.
You know, okay. I'll be honest.
You don't know what that is.
I still don't get it.
So,
MOA, MRAD, there's mil radians and stuff, but
yeah. MOA, minute of angle at 100,
I get minute
right?
MOA. I still don't get the MRAD thing.
MRAD is, from my understanding, and we could be complete idiots, but it broke this down on the Kahles website, so this is where I'm taking it from, okay? 1 click on these turrets equals 1 centimeter shift at 100 meters.
Oh boy.
Okay, so you can fine tune this optic
Jeez.
really, really well. So you get the MRAD, no MOA, to the best of our knowledge. Guys, we don't run a lot of LPVOs, so if you guys are screaming behind your keyboards right now, just relax.
We can't hear you, I don't care, you scream all you want.
So starting at the 400 meter mark also is where you start getting those windage holds. I forgot to bring that up at that point. My notes were a little out of order, but starting at the 400 meter hash mark, you start getting those windage holds.
Got it.
Okay. The main tube is 30 millimeters. Rotation for magnification is clockwise instead of counterclockwise.
Yep.
Okay. We come in at 19.5 ounces in weight. They had it at 555 grams.
No, that's not right.
Yes, it is.
It's on 1 power. I'm going I'm going against the clock to get to 8. I'm going clockwise, and now I'm going back to 1 power.
Dude, that's literally copied and pasted from their website.
Yeah, well, typo somewhere, regardless. All good.
Yeah.
All good. We figured it out right there.
Yeah, my bad, guys.
Real-time data.
I wonder what they meant by that. Scope comes in at 19.5 ounces. It has a scratch-resistant coating, so, I mean, we got a couple dings on here, but we tend to actually use a lot of this stuff. So, and comes with a 10-year warranty.
I like that.
So, pretty cool. As far as illumination, I know that there was some stuff you wanted to cover.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. When I had this, I spent a decent amount of time in lighting conditions that were not bright like this.
Not favorable lighting conditions.
Yeah, like whether indoors, just testing it at home, stuff like that, or like cloudy days, snowy days, stuff like that.
I guess I shot it indoors too at TNT in their 100 meter bay.
Yeah, so the illumination is really interesting. So when it's off, you know, and that's one of the arguments in favor of actual LPVOs or optic scopes, whatever you want to call them, is the fact that, hey, if your battery ever dies, not really an issue, because Red has still got a reticle, which makes it a great choice for any sort of like apocalyptic kind of shit, right? Sure. When you crank the illumination all the way up, in daytime bright settings like this, what you get is the 2 dots, which is, to my understanding, the 0 and then the height over bore dot, basically.
Mechanical offset.
Yeah.
Which should be the 3rd hash mark.
Correct.
Which should be your 300 meter hold.
So those 2 dots are bright enough. I'd say it's not as bright as like an aim point when it's cranked all the way up, but I can see them both.
Well, and the sun's, you know, it's very bright today with, you know,
very bright
with no clouds. And
so if you took this into low light, no light sort of environments, you get those 2 orange, and they're orange, not red, which is just clean and cool and awesome looking. There's this whole hue around the reticle. So like on I'm just going to use it just for an example. So primary arms, when I crank the illumination up on that, the whole reticle is now red.
Kind of blue.
Like the whole outline of the thing is lit up in red. This is essentially almost like turning on a light bulb by the reticle. And it's like my 2 dots are actually illuminated, but there's this hue of orange ambient light around the whole thing.
Spill of the orange ambient light.
But it's really nice. I'm telling you, this won't make sense unless you see one of these. It's luxurious. Like, it's fascinating. Like, you crank up the illumination and you're like, that's just classy illumination. Like, it's just like this luxurious lighting that's like dimly lighting the whole reticle. It's fantastic. Yeah. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Yet still crisp if you need to take like a far shot, right?
Yeah, you can see the whole reticle, even though the whole reticle is not actually illuminated. Yeah. It's light around the reticle that's just showing you, hey, here's the reticle, fella. And it's nice.
Fella.
Yeah, that's how it talks to me.
Okay. Other than that, like kind of my journey with LPVOs, I haven't really been like a giant fan of them. I bought a Night Force LPVO or magnified optic and took a Buck Doyle class. He's pretty well known for some long range stuff. And like the whole weekend, I was fighting with it, man. Just could not get it down. Eye box or eye relief was terrible. Like to the point where Buck is like, dude, you're really struggling with this. And I'm like, you know, I don't know what to tell you. So I kind of shit canned that and sold it immediately. And just thought maybe my astigmatism or I'm an idiot or both, just couldn't run LPVOs, right? And I've said this before, but when we got this, I was super skeptical. I'm like, dude, I just don't enjoy LPVOs. And I was one of the first guys to use it on the SCAR review. Mounted it took it to the range, and I'm like, let's see how much I struggle with this. Dude, the eye box is generous on that optic.
Very.
Generous.
Very.
To the point where I get too close and have to back off a little bit.
Yeah.
Right?
It really is a very nice, very forgiving eye box.
I almost have no like cheek weld difference from a red dot to that. It's about the same.
Yeah.
You have the same experience?
Yeah, I was saying recently, somewhat recently, when you guys are seeing this, we did a primary arms 1 to 6, and I was kind of saying in that, because I was the primary one running that, it's like, man, once you spend some time on LPVOs, there's really not a lag time between a red dot and bringing up a 1-power scope and just going, ding.
If it has a generous eye box.
Yes.
Correct.
If it's a very picky eye box, probably going to struggle a little bit.
Yeah.
Like an Elcan Spectre is like...
Similar with the NX8. That eye box is very similar from my experience.
Like it's just kind of tough, and your stock's got to be all the way collapsed, and it's just like, you know, it's kind of tough.
Yeah.
This is really forgiving.
Really nice. I'd equate that to one of the best scopes on the market that people talk about eye box is the Vortexes. Like the higher end Vortex, the
Razor
HD Gen 3 or whatever.
Yeah.
That eye box is great. Also, a lot of people talk about Vortex glass clarity. How about that glass?
Glass is mind-blowingly clear.
As it should be for the price, but holy hell, that glass is nice.
I mean, so self-admittedly, I don't have the best eyes, right? So there might be people with like genius eyes that are like, oh, there's a slight blue tint or whatever. Like, bro, I don't think anyone's gonna be able to say shit about that glass. Like, to me, that glass is, I look at the environment, I bring up the scope, and I look through the environment, I'm like, they look exactly the same to me.
Yeah.
I see no difference when I look through this.
Yeah, MROs have a little slight blue hue, so
Yes,
I've heard that.
they do.
I didn't notice until someone pointed it out, because you know what? I'm looking for a red dot. That's it.
And I've got it.
Right? So
I agree.
Anyways, we kind of, went off on a tangent here. For me, not really being a fan of LPVOs, this won me over.
Yes. The I would say it's a small thing, but I don't think it's a small thing, which is that it's a really clean,
smooth
throw of the lever.
Very smooth.
Because there's some levers where you're just like, bro, let's hope I never got to do that quickly.
Yeah.
Like, because like it's just a nightmare. This is just like, look, that's a really, really smooth. Like, it's not loose, it's not going to move on its own, but it's like, look, I can pretty easily move this, right? It's just nice.
Something I skipped over to is it ships with 2 different throw lever sizes. This is the extended one. They have a shortened one that's about 2/3 that length.
Yeah.
So anyways, just while we were talking about throw levers there. Real clean glass, great illumination, great ability to change magnification. Sits beautifully in a spur mount, which best mounts on the market. If you're serious about your LPVOs and magnified optics, go with spur. They are expensive, however, they are the best.
Yeah, they're very nice.
I don't really have anything else to add, Jake. For the several guns we've run that on, the time that I have behind it in both 308 and 5.56, it is the LPVO I would be comfortable spending my money on, not being a big fan of LPVOs. Yeah,
I would too. Like, I'm increasingly using them more and more and more because I just, hell, a lot of the stuff that we use is based on, hey, what happens to be coming in at any given time? And you're kind of like, well, guess I'm about to learn how that thing works.
Yeah.
And so I've just been running a lot more LPVOs, and I'm a giant fan of this thing. Like, I look forward to spending more time on that. It's just a damn good optic. Like, the only gripe people could make about it is it's expensive. And you know what? It is expensive. Like, it is expensive.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want me to tell you? Like, I'm not going to lie to you and be like, oh, yeah, it's budget friendly. Like, yeah, like, if you're pretty loaded, yeah, it's budget friendly. For everyone else, it's probably either a stretch or a strategically saved thing,
item,
you know? Yeah, that you actually budget some cash for. But I always think you get what you pay for.
Yep. Yeah, and it's, I mean, again, I'd be comfortable spending my own money on that, not being a giant fan of magnified optics. So I think they hit the mark on that. This is just our opinion and our experience, but we've shot that on, what, 3 different rifles now and 2 different calibers, and hasn't skipped a beat.
Yep,
so
6-7 months worth of running this thing, so yeah.
Yeah, we're right at, what? Yeah, 6-7 months.
It would have been probably about November when it first went on something.
7 months, yeah.
Yeah, somewhere in there, yeah.
Cool. So that's all I got for you, Jake. If you guys are interested in these, their website has a ton of great information, very user-friendly website. And again, thank you to Kahles for your time and sending this out to us, being willing to talk to us on the phone. And well, great optic. I am pleasantly surprised with that thing.
Cool, same.
Cool. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.